But otherwise,
Well,
yeah, you're right, Russ. We're in the thing and it's stationary and I don't know what's going on under it. Maybe they have like a bunch of little kids pushing from the bottom because you just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
being
yeah.
bumped around. So probably like the director's kids. I don't know.
Well, hello, I'm Russ Milheim from The Direct. Thank you so much for talking to me today about Twisted Metal.
My pleasure.
I've seen all of season two, and it was a ton of fun, so congratulations.
Thank you. I haven't even seen it yet.
I'm ahead of the game. Now, my first question is, going into season two, Quiet is now firmly a member of the Dollface clan. How has this group changed her, and why is it kind of a perfect fit for her?
Well, I mean, as a woman, I would also surround myself with badass women if it was the apocalypse. I think it's probably one of the safest places to
Yeah.
be. I think being a sort of protege, I guess, of Dollface has been really good for Quiet because she sees what it takes to kind of like be a leader. I don't know if that she wants to necessarily take on that role, but she's like witnessing what it kind of takes to do that and to put yourself out there in that way. And I also think it's just like, this world is one where you gotta survive, and this is a pretty big group and it's pretty well protected. They've got a lot of members, they're really strong fighters, they look out for each other. So like it is a community. They've built a small community for themselves. And I'm hoping that once once the tournament gets announced, all things are kind of shifting around, right? Like all bets are off. Some of the dolls are still all about community, and some of them are only out for themselves. So it kind of once the tournament is announced, Quiet's kind of target again shifts, right? And so now she's all about, well, I want to bring the walls down. I want to do this for the dolls, but I also want to do it for the world. I want to do it for everybody so that the haves and the have-nots are now on equal footing.
Yeah. Eventually, Quiet and John are also they're going to be reunited. Can you tease the audiences how that dynamic may change and evolve now since we've last seen it, and especially now that these two people have gone through different experiences in their
It's
time
been
away?
7 months. They haven't seen each other. John's been inside those city walls,
Yeah.
and Quiet's been on the outside. And for Quiet, I think she didn't really think there was a chance that she and John were going to be together again. She's moved on a little bit. Her in her sex life, she's moved on. In the way that she kind of handles herself, she's moved on quite a bit. She's definitely moved ahead as a driver. With John, she was often in the passenger seat. Sometimes he would let her drive, but now she's driving and she likes it and she's pretty damn good at it. So what happens now? I mean, you can't have two people in the driver's seat, right? So are you still a team? Can you go back to being a passenger? Do you switch off? What happens? I think that's a sort of in a way it's really reflective of adolescent relationships and that sort of moment when people decide maybe there are other people in the world to have sex with other than my high school girlfriend or boyfriend. And maybe I want to have more experiences and maybe I need to see more of the world and not just lock into this one person. Or maybe they are exactly who I wanted this whole time. And
Yeah.
that's the journey of the second season for the two of them.
I do need to squeeze in an off-topic question for you
Please.
real quick. Earlier this month it was stated that the story for Encanto 2 is starting to be cracked. I'm curious what you have heard
I'm
about the
curious too.
development.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on.
What have you heard about the development of Encanto 2? And then what would you like to see in a potential sequel, hypothetically?
I am so open to anything those incredible creators and artists at Disney Animation can come up with. I would never have, in my wildest dreams, thought that I would be voicing a Disney heroine in a world like the one that they created for Encanto. I just couldn't even begin to, touch on their creativity. I will say I'm very excited to do some of the voice recordings for the ride that will be going into Walt Disney World. I believe they announced that it's going to be ready 2027. I cannot believe it's happening. I remember being at Disneyland Paris and riding the Ratatouille ride and just like kind of looking around and going like, I bet Patton Oswalt was so just
Yeah.
keyed up when he got to do the voice for this. I can't even imagine what that's like. Gosh, I wish I could do that someday. And now here we are. I'm going to get to do that. So I'm really, really thrilled. And I just love everyone at Disney Animation. They're some of the most talented, most lovely human beings on the planet.
Your voice will be playing on loop daily for like the rest of existence in Disney.
Wild, wild.
I've seen the whole season and it was a ton of fun. So, congratulations.
Damn, you ahead of me. I ain't seen that shit yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
You got to get on it. No. So my first question, I'm gonna start with you, Anthony. Calypso is always putting on a show. You know, there's obviously his tournament, but there's also kind of he's a mask he puts on during his interactions. How did you work to find this unique persona of this godlike character who is, desperate for attention, doesn't seem to really know what he wants himself, and often comes across inauthentic in many ways, and you never really know where he is?
Yeah, well, I think one of the great things about, not just the character, but the world we're in is you really don't know what to trust. And I think a lot of, where Calypso is coming from and kind of where he draws his power from, like many malignant narcissists, is like by keeping people guessing, right? You actually don't know what his intentions are, and there's a power there and there's a control there that I think he just eats up, and he loves having that control, and yeah, he's he's giddy over it, I would say.
Yeah. Michael, there are a ton of fun vehicles in this franchise and the show, but how awesome was it to be able to be gifted basically a mobile saw trap as your vehicle of choice? And how practical was that setup that you got to deal with while filming all of your scenes as Axel?
Yeah, it's a pretty badass segue, dog.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome how they came up with it. Sophie, one of the props designers, she came up with the idea and had it manufactured. And I just remember the first time like stepping into it. You walk into the shop and there's this massive structure. It's bigger than me. So when I walked up to it, I was like, "Oh my God, I get to like roll around in this thing? What?" The whole process was like being a big kid again and like getting to play around and just play make believe with a bunch of other weirdos. But no, I feel like the props team, they did a really fantastic job bringing that the wheels to life. And I mean, every car on the show was like spectacular. My other favorite was there's an El Camino. It's like lime green. It's a little hood. It's got some rims on it, and it's got a bucket seat on the back with a machine gun. So, if you catch Axel riding around in that one, you know why.
Those gloves look pretty clunky. Were they as clunky as they looked?
Actually, it took a while to get dexterity with them.
Yeah.
But it was a matter of like just it's like kind of a learning curve. But I played into it because I couldn't like light a cigarette or like grab things from my trailer. So eventually I got better with it, but it
Yeah.
was a learning curve, definitely.
Now, Anthony, I need to squeeze in a really quick Superman question for you. First of all, congratulations on the movie.
Thanks.
Uh, I just
Yeah.
needed to ask, James Gunn recently confirmed that he is writing and directing a follow-up of sorts to Superman. What conversations have you had with him just regarding generally Metamorpho's return in any future DCU project?
I don't know. Who knows anything at
Yeah.
this point? It's just everything is such a mystery. And but I will say I'm thrilled about how the response has been, the audience response. We've just been loving that people have been loving this movie. But yeah, but now in terms of moving on to the twisted metal of things, like I'm happy that there's a completely different character that I get
Yeah.
to step into and to get to kind of have like a fun other summer experience with twisted metal.
Yeah.
And that
Speaking,
fabulous wig you wear.
yeah,
And that
the
fabulous
wig
wig.
is pretty great. The wig is pretty great. Speaking of Twisted Metal, my last question for you both is, outside of any wishes that are made by any of these characters, for your respective characters on screen, what would you say is their key motivating factor that drives them to keep going in this post-apocalyptic world?
Can I just say toxicity and
Yeah,
that, like I feel like that's
that
pretty
works.
much you can unpack it any way you want, but like the guy is just severely unhinged.
You want to die?
Yeah.
Because if I tell you, I'd have to kill you,
Yeah.
according to NBC.
Exactly.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
Okay,
you
okay,
don't want him to
NBC.
kill you. You don't want him to kill you. That death would be, I mean, have you seen those wheels? Like you're not looking to go that way. You're not.
Yeah.
You gotta tune in to find out.
That's fair. That's fair. Thank you both for talking to me today about Twisted Metal.
Hi, Russ.
Hi.
I've seen all of the season, and it was a ton of fun. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Lisa, I want to start with you. Vermin is quite the character, to say the least. In your mind, what is her backstory that you created? And where did she come from? What did she go through in order to become the person that we get to see go through this tournament?
That's a great question, Russ. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm probably the worst actor you're ever going to interview because something like a backstory is something I simply don't consider.
Yeah, that's
Um, Vermin is so fun because she's like a cartoon character of a person. Just to like, dick around and make jokes. And I know that she comes from the Florida swamplands. I guess in my mind, she was like born like a bug in a bunch of swampy goo and has come to ruin everyone's lives.
I mean, that's a great log line for her backstory right there.
She needs a
Also,
spinoff, maybe.
who do we have to talk to get Vermin to show up in Very Important People season 3?
Oh my God, can you imagine the
Yeah.
crossover?
I think
I'll
that
put
would
a
be
vote
great.
in, I'll see.
Yeah. Now, Richard, you are Mr. Grimm, an iconic character in the franchise, who also has a feud with Sweet Tooth. Can you talk about what exactly is going on between those two characters?
I mean, I can tell you that I hate his guts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, Sweet Tooth is uh his nemesis, and I feel like Grimm is Sweet Tooth's nemesis. Like,
You also have like a supernatural angle to your character, which is a ton of fun. What was it like getting to dive into the crazy of that and juggling those multiple personalities?
it was a dream come true. I mean, whenever I would get scripts, I would sit in my trailer, or I'd sit at my kitchen table and look in the mirror and figure out which voices would fuck with someone the most. So yeah, it was a dream come true.
If you guys were both in the world of Twisted Metal, what would your personal wish be if given the opportunity to throw a coin in that well?
Ooh, Lisa,
This is for both of you.
I want to hear her answer though.
Yeah. No press.
Um, Richard, you go. I can't
Okay,
think.
okay. Uh, oh man, now I'm put. Oh yeah, okay. Holland to win the World Cup.
Okay, all right.
That's I've never seen it. They won the European Championships when I was 4 years old. I'm a huge soccer fan. I just have to see it.
I like how if the world has ended and you make this wish, you just brought all of them back to life and the
Absolutely.
entire infrastructure of the sport.
No,
That's
dude,
great.
I'm super starstruck by soccer players. I love soccer players. I think it's an amazing, amazing sport. I want them to win.
I guess I would wish to end all of the wars in the Middle East, but I thought Richard's answer was really good too.
He said the world ended. We're going to bring them back.
I'm sure there's still wars going on,
Yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
soccer.
outside of the wish that your respective characters make, both on or off screen, what do you think is the key motivating factor for them that keeps them going within this post-apocalyptic world?
I think Vermin's kind of like on the hunt for friendship. I know her like main thing is that she wants to, exterminate humanity and let the bugs take over, but I think deep down she wants friends. And we got to shoot some really fun stuff like me and Stephanie and Patty together, and you can just like really feel how much Vermin wants the girls to like her, which is just so me in my real life also.
I mean, I feel like Grimm wants as many souls as possible. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that you're well on your way within the show. So, now, last question for you guys. What is the trick to making those interior car shots look cool? Because I can imagine it's a hard feat, given that most of those are probably filmed stationary in a studio on screens, and you're just yelling at the world.
I got to really drive my exterminator van for a second though, and I'll tell you, it was like the clunkiest, like put it in first, clutch is stuck, just the slowest crawl to a stop, and they were like, "Cut, that's good. I guess that's as fast as it can go."
Was it standard?
Yeah,
Was that van standard?
yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, being on the motorcycle, I was starting and stopping a lot. I'm not that good of a motorcycle rider. That I was made to look fantastic on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of stopping and starting and getting off and getting on.
But otherwise,
Well,
yeah, you're right, Russ. We're in the thing and it's stationary and I don't know what's going on under it. Maybe they have like a bunch of little kids pushing from the bottom because you just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
being
yeah.
bumped around. So probably like the director's kids. I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine it's a kid workforce there. It's like, hey, just show up, push the car, maybe go home. We'll
They're the
see.
only ones little enough to get under there.
Yeah. No, Joe, I want to start with you. Brief question to start off. When are we ever going to get to hear your on-set performance? Where's the Joe cut?
You, probably somewhere on the cutting room floor, but I get the question all the time, and it's funny. Like, I really like what me and Will have kind of put together, and I'm a big proponent of if the people are receptive to it and they like it, don't go switching up the recipe.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm very flattered that people do want to hear it. It's a tremendous bit of a tip of a hat to me. So it's both. I take it and I accept it, but I also very much like what we're doing.
I get a solo performance every time we act together. It's great. I get this-
Now, with Sweet Tooth, I want to ask like a question about Sweet Tooth himself. Can you tease how he's changed in this upcoming season? And also, he's got this unique rivalry with Mr. Grimm. What's going on there?
Obviously, season one was kind of a Sweet Tooth's awakening. He's left the comfort of Las Vegas, and now he's, essentially he's traveling the world trying to become the most well-renowned killer to ever kill. And obviously on his trek, he is finding out that there are many other very acclaimed killers throughout the post-apocalyptic wasteland, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass trying to track them all down and get your stats up. So. Yeah, I mean, essentially, he's continuing his hunt for fame and for recognition that he so desperately craves and the love of the public. And he's doing what he does best. And unfortunately for the world, that's slaughtering people. And it's him kind of going through this process of trying to surmount his goal, but at the same time, this great rival from the past appears who kind of was rivaling him in this very arena of being the best killer in Mr. Grimm. And obviously there's some very hard feelings there. And though he did his best to leave him for dead in Blackfield, lo and behold, Grimm has found his way out and into the tournament and into being a pain in the ass to Sweet Tooth.
Now, Mike, when we last saw Stu, it wasn't looking so great for him. However, not only is he alive and well, but inexplicably, he's besties with the killer clown that almost ended him. Can you just tease how that friendship came to me and just, Stu's a new situation as season 2 opens up?
Sure, I'd say that Stu has, what a lot of people would say is little brother energy. I don't think he has like a lot of I don't think he has a lot of role models, a ton of friends. He's not the brightest bulb, and I think that Sweet Tooth has showed him this way to survive, in this in the divided states of America, and he's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna follow this lead as long as I can. He's taken a liking to him, and I think for Stu, anyone showing any sort of the tolerability for him is all that he needs, and he's surviving, and not only surviving, but he's thriving. Like he's Sweet Tooth has really shown him the ropes. So I think that's where the relationship starts, and I think Stu is a guy who also sees the bright side of everyone, including a serial killer clown man.
Which is, I think it's a good thing. Someone that can see the best sides of no matter who you are. Now for both of you guys, what is the trick to making all of those interior car shots look so cool? I can imagine it's a hard feat, as they're usually filmed in like a stationary studio in front of screens and all that. What is the trick?
Ooh, well, I will say this. Myself and Mike are both men of size. And to be stuffed into a repurposed ice cream truck, and that's very, very rusty everywhere and sharp. And to be told to fit into the traditional Hollywood camera frame is quite the feat of fitting that much mass into that many pixels. But we do our best. Mike back there is become a master of the squat, the side squat, the power single knee on the sheet metal floor, and yet balancing himself while the car's moving.
My quads are huge. They've like
Huge.
quadrupled in
Yeah, his
size.
quads were huge by the end of filming, just from all the time he spent
I
being
was
like
like, you
three
look
quarter
good.
bent down, just trying to fit into frame. So yeah, it's a labor of love, but it's worth it to deliver the final product.
Yeah.
God bless the mail carriers of America.
Yes,
because
yes, yes, yes. God
there's
bless the
no
mail
AC
carriers of
in
America.
there's no air conditioning in that truck. It is a nightmare.
The true role models of the world for Twisted Metal. My first question is just when watching like the first episode, there's a moment where Anthony Mackie's John Doe is literally playing a copy of Twisted Metal. So what are the canon rules there? How does that work? Where we've opened up a can of madness, and I'm just curious as to your thought process in introducing fun things like that.
Well, I first of all, I think it's really fun to. I mean, in season one, he blows up an EB Games, and a copy of Twisted Metal also falls on his windshield. So I feel like we have to see a game of Twisted Metal in the show every season. So I feel like it's just a fun opportunity to like nod to the games that like those games exist. And I just love the idea of him playing. I think technically he's playing a game of I forgot what game he's actually playing, but he's playing a different game. So he's not actually playing Twisted Metal. He's playing a racing game. I think it's what's the game he's actually playing? I'll have to look at what he's playing, but he's actually not playing Twisted Metal. And I made sure of that because I agree with you. It is too much of a wormhole for him to be playing actually Twisted Metal. But the Twisted Metal game is on the stack.
It's like, how did they know about Sweet Tooth?
It is way too much of a wormhole for him to be playing. But I do think it's important to nod to the games as a fun tongue-in-cheek thing and a nod to the games.
Now, watching through all of season two, I had this feeling that season two really blows the doors wide open on the supernatural. You're just kind of like you just deal with it and you just let everything happen. Can you talk about jumping more into the supernatural with this season two and those video game friendly elements?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing I learned from season one was I really wanted to lean more into what makes Twisted Metal Twisted Metal. I mean, I think we have a character who lights his hair on fire. And I think that's what makes the show fun. That's what makes our show special. And in season two, I wanted to lean more into those elements. I wanted to lean into you can only see these kinds of things in our show. And I think like leaning into that fun of Calypso and Mr. Grimm is what separates our show from the others. And I think there's also something very cool, our show is post-apocalyptic, but it's also there's something kind of eerie about a post-apocalyptic world where there's something more to it. There's something a little cosmic, a little something weird, especially where there's someone like Calypso that exists in this world. And I think there was something really exciting to me, feeling like John Doe and Quiet can drive across this world, and there's something on the edges that just brings a little more eeriness to it.
What is your like long-term plan with the series? Do you have a certain amount of seasons that you've mapped out or that you hope to be able to tell like a bigger story with?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think when you watch the season full and you get to the final episode, I think it is extremely clear where season three goes. So I have a lot of plans for that. Obviously, I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
I think like season three is extremely clear. I have a lot of amazing, fun ideas for where that goes. And I have an amazing idea for season four that I think fans will lose their goddamn minds when you hear it. So
Oh, okay.
I have a lot of ideas for that. I think that there's a line in the show that pretty clearly steps out what my plan is if you kind of can find it. I think like I'm not one of those people that's going to be like, I have a very strict 6 season plan for the show. I think, look, I want to go for as long as the fans watch, and I think we have a lot of great plans for these characters. And what's great about it is, look, we have a deep roster of old characters to pull from. We obviously can come up with new characters like Mayhem and Quiet and other new characters that were really fun to come up with. So I think we have a lot of fun plans for the fans.
Sailor, for you, Mayhem forms, a very close bond with Quiet as the season progresses. Can you tease why those two are perfect for one another and how Mayhem kind of becomes an integral part of their existence?
It is amazing because I feel like me and Stephanie's relationship in real life is very similar, but almost the opposite of what Mayhem and Quiet have. Stephanie, honestly, like all of you guys, truly, like very immediately on set, like it just felt like a family, like very supportive, very encouraging, having talks with like specifically the three of you. Especially also just being like the youngest and a little nervy. I was like, yeah, I can do this with all the big
coolest. The youngest but the coolest. I know.
I can't believe they call me cool. That's amazing. Living off of that for the rest of my life. But you know, their dynamic is very chaotic, in a way that like makes so much sense for them. It's almost like Quiet just teaches her how to maintain her chaos and use it in the correct way rather than, you know, you just don't see that. You don't see a relationship where one is, you know, honing the other's skills for murdering and then whatever it is that she teaches me throughout this entire series. It's so supportive and it's so wacky and it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Now, Tiana, Dollface's reveal as John's sister was a shock at the end of last season. Can you tease how that inevitable reunion is going to go down and kind of the unexpected direction your story is going to go into as the season unfolds?
Oh, okay. So I would say be prepared for Dollface and John to just pull at your heartstrings a bit. I think it's a beautiful reconnection that they share, and it's going to propel the journey and the tournament forward. And I'm excited for people to see it and hopefully hear what they think about it.
Now, Patty, you know, you got to take the reins from Neve Campbell with this Raven character. Can you just talk about, you know, that, but also, you know, working to make sure that your version of Raven was the signature version, who is, you know, also driven by this truly tragic backstory?
Well, yeah, it's so funny because when I auditioned, it was not for Raven. It was for a different character. Well,
Wait, what?
no, the part was Raven, but they
Named it.
I think
yeah.
they named it
Yeah.
something different and they named it Zenita.
Yeah.
Zenita. So when I got the part, I was like, oh my God. I was like asking my friends who like are deep into Twisted Metal lore, like, who is Zenita? I was like, she's a male woman. She's a parking meter attendant. And I was like, I'm blonde. I'm a parking meter attendant.
Are they gonna have to dye my hair?
So I talked to MJ and I was like, are they gonna have to dye my hair? He's like, what are you talking about? You're Raven. I was like, ah.
Yeah.
So it was a very fun, like shocking reveal to me.
Yeah.
And then because I watched the first season, I was just like, I mean, I've loved Nev forever.
Yeah.
Nev. I always
Nev, I'm sure I said it wrong.
I went to see SNL when I was 13 and she was the host. And I was like in love with her and scream. I was like, oh my God, I love her with her. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to only just bring what I can to this because there's no way to like compare or contrast. Like this is just, she has to be her very much own person who's like here to run this show and like get a job done. So that's how I had to look at it. And then the relationship she's doing all of this for was like, I don't know, it's her heart. Like, I know she's like has this really tough exterior, but like she really on the inside is very, very soft and like wants this like gooey love story, but like she just doesn't want to let anyone in. So she just, yeah, it's her driving force.
Thank you guys again for talking to me today about the show. I look forward to everyone else getting to see the chaos unfold when the season comes out.
Thank you.
Russ.